Have you ever wondered how money works in Splatoon? More specifically, how does cash work? This gold coin, officially named G, is the main currency in both Splatoon 1 and 2, mainly obtained from battling in turf war matches used to purchase different kinds of gear and weapons. It's a pretty simple exchange system and not too complex to understand from a gameplay point of view, but when we bring in lore, how much more is there to it? How does it work? Is it the official currency of Inkopolis? And if it has any value, how much is it worth? And are Inklings rich? These are a few of the several questions I have regarding cash in Splatoon, and with the power of overthinking, let's take a closer look at this little gold coin. And also, for a side note, I'll be referring to this coin as cash for the rest of the video. But for starters, is cash currency or a token? Cash is very easily obtained in-game, and considering we get paid for battling in turf wars, is it the main currency of Inkopolis, or more of a token making it an in-game currency? Well, first of all, where does all the cash we get from turf war even come from? All we really know is that in an Octo expansion interview, according to Mr. Nogami, jellyfish could be the sponsors behind the turf war industry, which is where all the cash for players may come from. And from what we've seen from jellyfish, they clearly are the working force of Inkopolis, with paying jobs allowing them to afford college, own cars, and go on some crazy camping vacations with parachuting. I know that probably wasn't too important, but a parachuting jellyfish is pretty cool and definitely a sign of wealth. So why wouldn't they find turf wars entertaining and sponsor matches by giving them a little bit of cash? So if this is all true, I guess that could make cash more of a currency rather than a token if it's coming from hardworking jellyfish. And with it being a currency in Inkopolis, what is the value of cash? Now when it comes to the value of it, I always wanted to compare it to an actual currency in our real world to get a better feel of the price of gear and weapons and how much we make. And to find some kind of exchange rate, cash seems to be very similar to yen. And that's probably considering, Inkopolis is based off of Japan. But from the yen, we can then exchange it to the US dollar. And that just makes it easier for me to understand, so for viewers around the world with different currencies, I'm very sorry. We're also going to exchange yen to USD to the present day as of now to get a better sense of understanding, even though this is very likely to be outdated in the future, but in the end, this is kind of just overthinking fun. So now that that's easily settled, how much cash can Inklings make? Well, originally to find the answer to that, I kind of wanted to make an elaborate graph by playing matches as a new player and my current player account, and then adding a bunch of other previous experiences from other players, but then I kind of remembered that the amount of cash you make in a match is determined by how many points you have. So essentially 1 point equals 1 cash, and the same goes for ranked matches, but it's based off of your team's total points, which sometimes isn't too much, so we'll just be sticking with turf war for now. So that kind of defeats the purpose of making crazy graphs to find out the estimate, but I'm glad, because I hate math. But it seems the main determining factor on how much cash you earn is how well you play, as well for how your team plays, since the winning team also gets a bonus of 1,000 points, which turns into 1,000 cash. And that cash bonus, being 1,000 yen exchanged to the current rate of USD, turns into an instant $8.63 bonus. Which doesn't sound like a lot, but if you're on a winning hot streak and win every single match you play in a day, that's a multiple win bonus of $8, which is pretty great. If anything, the points to cash system may just be the game's currency mechanic. Who knows how similar it is in universe, but we'll just go with this process to see how much money an Inkling could make in an hour. To find the answer to that, I could easily play 20 matches to fit the hour, but if we're talking terms of lore, we have to take account for how many turf war matches an Inkling could even play in a day. For turf war in-game, there are 2 stages in rotation every 2 hours, and if that's how it works in universe, then it seems kinda limited to how many Inklings can be in a match. Maybe more stages are available to battle in turf war, but then we also have to take account of the amount of Inklings and Octolings who want to battle. Then we also have to think about the distance of each stage and how they travel to it. Some stages seem to be closer to the square compared to others if we take a look at their surroundings, and Marina also states that Starfish main stage is just a short train ride from Inkopolis Square. So they could travel by train for transport, which may cost them money, but I like to think once they're in the Deca Tower, they're teleported via ink pipeline system to appear in stages spawn points for faster and efficient travel. I know I'm getting a little bit off topic, but I'll save this topic for the near future. I always like to bring this up, so make sure you've already subscribed and hit that bell icon to get notified when I finally decide to make that. But anyways, I'm not too sure how matchmaking works for them, but we could just say that they could probably participate 1 match every hour to make things easier. So instead of an hour, what about a day? They could probably play a few matches depending on how busy their schedule is and how busy other stages are. So to get somewhat of an answer, I decided to figure out how much I could make in a total of 8 battles. Why 8 battles? Well, to me it seems like a number of how many battles an Inkling could possibly fit in their schedule. But from the 8 matches, 6 of them were victories while 2 were losses, and the highest points were 1,273 and the lowest being 796. and I got a total of bonus of 6,000 points for the 6 victories. So the total cash turned out to be $14,049, and when converted to USD, it comes out to $120.87, which doesn't sound too bad for Turf War matches, and that's enough to buy a Pro Controller in Splatoon 2 on sale. But that was my experience with Turf War, a reminder that this could be so much different if we knew a more accurate amount of matches they can get to participate and get paid for. Hypothetically, if they play matches back to back to back to back to back, they could make much more, which is why they could probably afford their own apartments, and it's probably more accurate to how we as players make money in the game. But for now, we're just gonna stick with this and move on to the next money-making part-time job, Salmon Run. It's a different way to obtain cash, but it doesn't seem to be the best way considering you don't get paid for every shift, more so you get points for super bonuses. But as you probably know, in those bonuses, there's a big chance of getting a large sum of cash, since all the capsules except for the pink one have a 50% chance of being 4,000 cash, and on occasion the yellow capsules could have a 40% chance of being 16,000 cash, or even a 10% of being 32,000. Now, as for how to calculate how much an Inkling could make in an hour or even a day in Salmon Run, similar to Turf War, who knows how in-universe matchmaking shifts work, considering there are even less stages? Maybe Mr. Grizz has constant active boats running back and forth to jobs to keep the workers busy, but I'm not entirely too sure. But for Salmon Run income, originally I was going to base it off the earnings after the second super bonus was collected, but decided to go with the same thing I did in Turf War by going on 8 shifts, since one could possibly be worked every hour if we think about the locations and finding other coworkers. As for the results, they could be different for you if you're any other rank in Salmon Run, since I am a professional 100, don't mean to brag, but I managed to get both super bonuses and an extra shirt within the 8 shifts. But after redeeming all my bonuses, I got a total of 16,000 cash and swapped all the new gear for more, giving me another 16,000 for a total of 32,000. I'm not sure if the shirts would be bought back, but I'm still keeping that to the overall cash total. And when converted, that turns out to be almost $270.94, which is almost double from what I got from Turf War. And since we're on the topic of Salmon Run, I want to bring up the food tickets, because in-game, these give us meals that increase the amount of cash we receive, but would it do the same thing in universe? I'm assuming this once again is a game mechanic, which is why I haven't used it yet to figure out how much cash we would get. But if it's not a mechanic, it would kind of be crazy that a ticket we earn from Salmon Run used to get food from Krusty Sean, to which then we eat, earns us double the amount of cash in Turf Wars. How would it work though? Who would authorize our character to get almost double the amount of cash from our Turf War results just by eating a schwaffle? Maybe it's some kind of authorized slip we give to the sponsors to let them know, oh hey yeah, this player right here, they ate a sandwich. You should give them more money. Or maybe the jellyfish are drawn to the scent of us eating a sandwich and they give more money? I don't know. And speaking of Krusty Sean, why does he only accept tickets? Apparently before the Crust Bucket, he used to work in the shoal and took cash as a form of payment, but switched to a food truck with limited distribution tickets after getting too many complaints of long lines. And these tickets definitely don't seem limited, so does that mean Krusty Sean never gets paid? Or is this some kind of business deal he struck with Mr. Grizz? Perhaps Krusty Sean gets a steady flow of revenue from Mr. Grizz in exchange for giving food tickets and bonuses, encouraging Inklings and Octolings to work more shifts at Grizzco. If there is a business partnership with Krusty Sean, I wonder what other deals Mr. Grizz has made with others. And if there's some kind of partnership between the Crust Bucket and Grizzco, would that mean that Krusty Sean may have met Mr. Grizz in person? That's another tangent, my bad, I'm sorry about that, but let's get back on track with cash. More so, let's talk about the Deep Sea Metro Vending Machine. This is somewhat of another method of earning cash, since it turns out this vending machine is less of a snack and drinks kind and more of an ATM. This may also only apply to Agent 8 since they're the one receiving the mem medals from CQ, but with these, you can use them in the vending machine to get a total of 10 prizes. And on the third prize, they receive 20,000 cash, while on the 8th, they receive 40,000. And after all the medals are used, they can still use 15,000 CQ points to use the machine, and sometimes they can even get cash. Just as how I got 4,000 and then 8,000 on the next draw. And I know sometimes food tickets appear, so this could probably be another Grizzco tie-in, perhaps? I do wonder who stocks this machine though, but I don't think that's important because my main question is, if this could apply to all underground Inklings, could this be a way for them to go to the surface and have some kind of cash to start a new life? If there's a way for all Octolings to get mem medals, they could get a chance of getting 60,000 cash, which sounds like a lot, but if we convert it, it only turns out to be $503.29. I'm not too sure how much housing in Inkopolis could be, but Neo Octolings could participate in Turf War battles to earn more cash, so we can take a look at the cheapest weapon, the standard splatter shot. It only costs around 900 cash, and when converted, that turns out to be $7.55. The cheapest gear is also quite low. There's a bunch of tees, headgear, and shoes below the price of 500 cash, or $4.19. And you would think they look cheap and all, but in reality, they're actually quite nice and fashionable. Also, fun fact, if we combine the most expensive gear and weapons being the custom Hydra Splatling at 33,300, Bounty Hat at 13,000, Pullover Coat at 13,200, and the Sun and Shade Squid Kids 4 at 13,000, the total would be a whopping 72,500 cash or $608.14. Wow. An Octoling with the money obtained from the Vending Machine ATM could almost be able to purchase the most expensive items from Inkopolis, which is kinda crazy. Really makes you wonder how well the economy in Inkopolis is doing. Maybe they're currently living in the 70s. Maybe a burger costs 75 cents. Maybe buying power of cash is great and society is thriving. But as always, I guess we're just gonna have to keep on speculating about it. One thing I do want to mention though is for all the viewers who are still here and those who probably already typed it out, I know there seems to be other types of currencies seen in places such as Macomart, as shown with the price labels, and then there's the whole super sea snail market, but I solely wanted to focus on cash and have a little fun with it. I kinda always wanted to talk about it since this was a topic in a video of mine oh so long ago. And like I've said, there's many things about cash, pricing, and the likes that just seem to be game mechanics, but it's all in good shower thought speculation. And hey, maybe someday in the future when Splatoon 3 is out, we'll come back to this topic. I just have a feeling that we're a long way from Inkopolis, and Splatsville probably has a brand new hip currency with maybe chances of getting our own place to live and decorate. What do you think about cash? You can tell me all your thoughts in the comments below, and hey, why not tell me what you can make in 8 matches? Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell and follow me on all social medias. But that's all I have for now. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.